Good
Good
Good day.
morning.
Whatever day or time of day it is for you, wherever you are.
Yeah, good morning. It's still morning here. It's probably about 7:30 over in Spain and Italy, 7:30 p.m.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It I well at 10 a.m. in Spain, it's 5 p.m. in Winnipeg or in no, other way around. 10 a.m. in Winnipeg, it's 5 p.m. in Spain.
6:30.
Oh, it's 6:30
Yeah.
now. Yes,
Yeah.
there it is. Yeah. I
It's
only know that because people a lovely person from Spain was watching Wake Up last week and let me know what time it was there.
nice. You know, I used to be really like clued into like the timing of things because when I was in Spain a couple of years ago for over a month, like I was always like, should I call my husband now or not? I don't know. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. It's
Yeah.
6:30 p.m. in Spain right now.
Yes. Yes. What a great time to rant.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to the
Yeah.
rant. I'm Dr. Jonathan Zenz, and this is my
And Steph.
amazing colleague, Reverend Steph St. Amand, or colloquially, we are known as Saint Steph and Dr. JZ.
Dr. JZ.
How is
Yes.
everyone today? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I hit the wrong button.
Oh,
There we go.
yeah.
Chime in. Let us know who's watching. How are you? Where are you watching from? What's going on for you? Because I've been away from the rant for 2 weeks. We were last live 2 weeks ago. I
Yeah.
hope you all enjoyed the replay of our rant in person when
Yes.
Saint Steph was here back in April. Can you believe that was almost 3 months ago now?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, time is an illusion, and because I know it's an illusion because I keep losing days.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't an illusion, I would know exactly where that day was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
everything
I
is
know actually
illusion.
someone came up to me in person this on Sunday and said, "Hey, I caught the replay of the rant." So it was
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
William, good morning to a couple of beautiful, magnificent peeps. Well, good morning to you, William. Grateful
Good
always.
morning, good sir.
Yes. And
Yes.
oh,
Yes.
Michelle has joined us from Yuma, Arizona.
Hello.
Grateful to
Yes.
see you this day, Michelle. Yes,
Hi,
yes, yes.
Michelle. Hello.
Yeah.
So if you have something you want us to rant about, you just let us know. There's a comment place for you right here. Let us know what you want a radically affirmative new thought on.
Mm-hmm.
I trust there's something golden, some golden nuggets for us to unwrap
Yeah.
together.
I have 3 themes that kind of occurred to me this morning.
Mm.
I'm wondering if there's something in us talking about boundaries.
Oh my God.
If there's something inviting us to talk about vision,
Oh my gosh. Yes.
and
Mhm.
something that is inviting us to talk about expectations.
Mm,
Those are the
mm.
3 things that kind of been rumbling around for me this morning.
Uh,
So I don't really know where to go
no.
with that except to say, let's talk about boundaries.
Yeah. I just I joyfully did the talk this past Sunday for the Center for Spiritual Living in Winnipeg. And
Mhm.
I was like, it feels like it was vulnerability, the power of vulnerability. I'm like, vulnerability and boundaries. I feel like we're talking a lot about these days. So is everyone here still working on vulnerability and boundaries? And everyone is like, yeah. I'm like, I guess that's why we're still talking about it.
Mhm.
Boundaries, like, oh my gosh, it feels like it's tons of conversation right now. So perfect. Let's talk about boundaries.
Yeah.
I know for myself, my life got better when I decided to have some.
Right.
Yeah, it really did. And the way I discovered my boundaries was through contemplation of what was no longer serving me in my life at the time.
Mhm.
How was I showing up? What was I letting into my life? What was I letting into my sphere and my realm of experience that did not serve me? And because boundaries show up in when we know more about ourselves, when we discover more about ourselves, we discover that we either have boundaries or we don't have boundaries, or we need to change or shift our boundaries. You've got a face. I love to know what wants to come out.
Well, yeah, something's coming up for me around that because I don't disagree with you, but I'm starting to wonder, like, as we develop through this time frame called life, which is an illusion, but we're having the experience of a linear time progression, right? And if we are developing the boundaries as we continue on this flow of experience, is it possible that we become so rooted in boundaries that we've limited the potential and possibility for what could be because we have now become so rigid in those boundaries?
I love that. I love what you just stated, for sure. You can get stuck in the mud if you're like unmovable.
Mhm.
I know for me, my boundaries are movable. The more I know about myself, the more I can move and shift my agreements with myself, right? And it really comes down to my boundaries are um, a level of respect I have for myself. So, um, you know, people pushing against my no when it comes to time or energy or willingness, that's usually like I've got a lot of yeses in me. I have a lot of yeses in me. And so how I discovered a boundary was, discovering that my no is as sacred as my yes. And a sacred no for myself is just that, oh, I this is a boundary of mine. Um I do not respond to business like things after 8 p.m.
Mhm.
Like that's a boundary for me. I'm respecting my time. I'm respecting my work ethic, and anything that's business like can be done during decent business hours for sure.
I'm like, your business hours go till 8 p.m.? I'm like,
Uh, I'm accessible. Like, well, yeah, I teach classes until in evenings, right? So there are reasons why.
okay,
If
that makes sense.
it's usually a text message.
Right.
But, yeah, when I do have expectations around my time, my energy, and the reciprocity of that love and respect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but at the same time, if it's a crisis or it's urgent, then I am available after 8 p.m.
Right.
It's that there's just I refuse to be taken advantage of. My time is precious. I refuse to be taken advantage of. So I've created boundaries around my time because I used to give it all away and get burnt out and exhausted and bitter and disgruntled and frustrated, all of those things
Yeah.
but that means I was disrespecting my own time and my own value and my own worth, not because somebody else was. They didn't know they crossed a boundary that I didn't know wasn't up at the
Right.
time, you know? Yeah.
You remind me of something that I've held very close to this is one of my boundaries. I am very clear that my technology that I carry with me,
Mhm.
right, is for my convenience and no one else's.
Yes, amen.
That's
Yeah.
what I always remind myself. Like, if you have the expectation that I am going to respond to your text message at 10 p.m., let go of that expectation because that is a boundary for me.
Mhm.
Now, again, yes, if it's an emergency, yes, but I can't tell you the number of text messages or emails that I receive where it's like it can wait till the next day.
Absolutely. Most things can wait.
Yeah, and I get feedback that they thought that I would respond in a more timely manner. I'm like, no, I'm responding in exact right time. So, but
Yeah.
it's a constant, there's a constant like moment by moment assessment of that as well. So, my
Absolutely.
boundaries have a little bit of a gray area only because every situation is unique. Every situation has its own identity. And so I'm willing to take a look at it and say, does this require something right
Mm-hmm.
now? And
Oh.
am I willing, is this a time for me to soften my boundaries or make more rigid my boundaries?
Mhm. Yeah. I often look at a text and say, "Is this even mine to do?"
Right? Yeah.
Right? Like that's not a me decision.
Mm-mm.
You want love? It can wait until morning. Like, you want love and attention? I have made it very clear, and there's beautiful souls in my life right now that are, help me ensure my boundaries
Mm-hmm.
are steadfast, because they are, um, you know, joyfully exuberant about my time or my energy or my wisdom that they're looking for. And so it's like a bombardment and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I might change my number. I might. I might. Um,
I've been thinking about
because
changing my number. There's no real reason for me to do so, except that my telephone number traditionally has an area code that is related to Southern California, not Tucson, Arizona.
Mhm,
And so I
yeah,
thought to myself, should I change my number? Like, should I
yeah.
change my number? And I'm like, the amount of work that would go into all the places where I would have to like update my phone number,
Mhm,
I don't feel
mhm.
like it's worth it. Because also, like, then you've got those places where, well, we can't update your phone number without sending you the text message to the phone number that we have on file so that you can verify your account and like all of that stuff. I'm like, well, I don't have that number anymore. So how do I?
Oh yeah, that's just crazy making, yeah. Well, and true for me and true for everyone. The only person who has the authority and privilege to give someone else this phone number is me.
Mhm. Oh, that's a
That's
boundary that
it.
I am
That
very
you
clear on.
people who have this number, it's you don't get to give it out. This is If you have my phone number, you are a blessing inner circle member of my life.
Yeah,
Right?
same. There's a
Yeah.
funny thing too, like in spiritual community environments or church environments,
Mm.
there's like this expectation that anybody in the community can call the church and just say,
Yeah.
"Hey, can you give me so and so's phone number?" And my
Oh,
answer is no. I
no.
cannot. I don't have the permission from them.
Yeah.
What I'm
It's
willing
against
to
our
do is
privacy policy.
I am happy to take your phone number and share it with them and say that you are trying to get in touch with them and would you please
Yeah.
call them. But yeah, you don't get, this is not 411. Remember
Yep.
411?
I do. I do
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's our rant on phone privacy.
I didn't tell you what happened to me
I
this
am not
week.
accessible 24/7.
Speaking of boundaries, and a boundary
Mm.
that was crossed and was really irritating to me this week. Did I tell you that my license plate got stolen?
No. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my gosh, yeah. My license plate got stolen right off my car when I was away in Kansas City. My car was at in the complex where I live, in the parking lot of the complex where I live. And yeah, I got home Friday night. I went out Saturday morning to go run an errand, and I looked at my car, and I have is it here? Oh yes. So we because I've got a new one. We have these license plate frames, right?
Yes.
And so I had one of these frames on my car, and I went out and I looked. I'm like, wait, my license plate frame is gone. And then I looked. I'm like, and that's not my license plate number. So they'd literally taken the license plate off and they had put a different plate on.
Wow.
Because here's the thing: how frequently do you actually notice your license plate?
It's how I find my car, because there's 70 of them in the same parking lot.
Right? But I'm going to be a lot more aware of my license plate
Yep.
number now on a regular basis. Anyway, I reported it stolen, and then the police came, and yes, they said yes, and the plate that was put on my car was reported as a stolen plate,
Yep. Yep.
And so, yeah, anyway, it's all handled now. I've got
It's
I've got a new license
hilarious.
plate ordered. It's on its way. But they did find my plate, the stolen plate. They found it in
Oh,
Benson,
wow.
Arizona, which is like an hour,
Yeah.
hour and a half drive east of
Yeah.
Tucson.
My parents used to snowbird there.
In Benson?
Benson in their, yeah.
That's
Snow
interesting.
turtle. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my story. But talk about crossing a boundary. I was like, irritating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's random, right? Like,
It's so
random.
random. Like, why my plate?
So
Like, what
random.
was it about my plate that drew them to? And I thought, well, maybe they wanted my, license plate frame really badly.
Yeah. No, it's they stole a vehicle and they're putting other plates on it.
Yeah.
God
Fascinating.
bless them. God bless them.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So nobody's chatty here today.
Yeah. let us
There
know
there
what's
is
coming up for
like
you.
a ton of you guys watching. Are you driving?
They might
Use
be.
voice to text. Let's
Just be
go.
careful because Arizona is now a no-touch state by law.
So you can't touch your cell phone.
You cannot touch your mobile device. You cannot touch your mobile device if you're driving now.
Yeah.
And if you get pulled over for touching your mobile device, the fine goes from $50 all the way up to $450. So just be aware.
Yeah. That's been a law up here a long time.
I have
It
this funny thing,
It doesn't
though.
stop people.
Right. It doesn't stop people. But I also have this funny thing though. I'm like, so I have a phone mount and it's right there. And like right below it are the controls for my radio.
Yeah.
I'm like, if they saw me like controlling my radio, would they think I was touching my mobile device?
Mm.
And how do you know? Anyway.
Yeah.
I'll worry about that if it happens.
I always find it funny. You're at a red light and you can tell what the person in front of you is doing. And then it's green. And it's a turning arrow green and there's just sitting there. And so you like honk honk. Like, we know what you're doing.
Yes.
You should be driving.
Yes. Stop doom scrolling.
Yeah.
Michelle, oh, geez, thanks for the word. Oh, you're welcome. Just yeah, that started just this month. That new law. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's for everybody's safety, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
I have seen a woman, and I'll say a woman, driving, because this person was had a burger in one hand, clearly something in between her knees, I think a makeup kit, and had the mirror down, was doing all of this while driving.
It's crazy
While
what
driving.
people think is appropriate.
It's crazy. It's amazing. People are magnificent.
They are magnificent.
They are magnificent.
Just tell the police you're a minister and you're tuning into some spiritual advice. I don't know that would go over, but okay, I'll remember that if I get pulled over. Of course, I'm really specific about, not getting distracted by my device when I drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm distracted enough.
Right.
Oh, a squirrel.
So vision.
Okay. So boundaries, we've talked about. Vision.
Yeah. So what does vision mean to you?
Oh, something greater than I am that is inspiring and motivates me to move towards it.
Like a moth to a flame.
Like a moth to a flame. Yes. Yes. Yeah, like having a personal vision for like ministries have visions and churches have visions and corporations have vision statements.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important for us as individuals to have a vision for our life and to discover what that might be. Some people might call it purpose or that kind of thing. But to have a vision for your highest self, the highest version of yourself is already here. It's already present. And if we can't see it because we don't know what it looks like, then we have to, discern that for ourselves and give ourselves hope.
But do you know what? Do you know how I know the highest version of yourself exists? And I can see it. I
Because
can
it's
see it.
right where I
I
am.
see you.
Yeah.
I see you.
Yeah. It's always the highest version of yourself in every day, because when we know better, we do better. We are pulled towards a greater good.
Mhm.
Always there's like that's a human condition. We are always pulled towards something more, something greater than we're experiencing right now. And so it can be done all willy-nilly. Like it could be just like, loosey goosey and just, oh, what's in today? I hope today goes great. But if you have like this call in your life to do something, and it doesn't have to be extraordinarily great and impacting humanity. It can be like on the top in the header, softly in every talk that's on paper that I have written in the
Mhm.
last year is, you're just here to love them.
Mm.
That's it. And so if I just focus on that's what God has told me was mine to do in so many times and so many capacities, that if I resist that, it creates struggle in my life. I'm
Mhm.
just here to be love. I'm just here to serve love, and I'm just here to love people. Like, that's why I'm a minister, just to love people. I have an extraordinary bandwidth and capacity to do that
Mhm.
when I'm at my highest self. And so that's when I can feel if I'm missing the mark. And so because I know that's mine to do, that's my greater good, the focus of my life, it's easier to course correct and get back to where I'm going, to have a vision, to just be a compassionate, loving soul. That's what I want to be when I grow up. And so I act as if, and I practice that daily. And I keep reminders around me. So having a personal vision, having a community vision that you're all striving towards together, it's momentum building, and makes for an enriched life and a rich and fulfilling life.
Yeah. What would, if you were to articulate your personal vision, how would you define your personal vision?
Mm,
I guess the question really is, what is motivating you to move forward?
yeah. I know how good it feels when I have received compassion.
Mhm.
I know how loved I feel when I've received unconditional love and acceptance. And I don't know how to articulate it. It has been since I was a child that this universal mind shared with me that I'm going to teach this, which is oneness. And I'm going to, how do I do that is to just love them, to be loving presence, to
Mhm.
teach that, like, there's no separation,
Mhm.
means that I have to let go of all of my separation. I have to let go of all of my othering. I have to let go of all of my judgment, my labels, and allow truth to present itself in such a way that I can see and touch and know and feel it and share it with other
Yeah.
people.
You remind me of something that came up in my Sunday message, and I kind of, towards the top of my Sunday message, I had asked a question, essentially saying, well, I talked about what our purpose is, and how do we move beyond the paradigm, and I think that, well, certainly I think that this community has, but there is the paradigm that exists and is kept in place by so many New Thought spiritual communities, basically saying unity is the best kept secret in the world. CSL is the best kept secret in the world. I'm like, no, it's not. And the more we hold on to that idea, the more we're going to keep that idea in activity, in expression, right?
Mm,
And I said that, I basically put it out, and I said, what how do we share what it is we have to share without proselytizing? Because we don't actively proselytize in New Thought communities. Like I'm not out there on the street corner, with my book in hand saying, "You are not a sinner." Which I have fantasies about doing that and seeing like
I do as well. A big, like, get a soapbox, a literal wood box on a corner of a busy street.
And I don't usually do this, but what ended up happening during the service is I saw my associate minister's hand, it went right up. And so I was like, oh. And so I grabbed a microphone. I went down into the community, like into the audience. I hate calling it an audience because it's like, it feels like there's that separation. And in the physical makeup of our sanctuary, there is a physical separation, and it drives me nuts sometimes because I feel sometimes quite distant from. But I went down to William, and his answer was, we be the example. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Be the example of pure love in full expression, that we are here to be love. That's what Jesus's only command was.
Yeah.
Be love. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love is the answer. Love is it. And if we can truly, truly, express love unconditionally, I'm going to say that again, unconditionally, then we are on the right track, I believe.
Yeah. I was asked this past week, how do we do this? And I said, we live by the example.
Yeah. My love of God moves me forward. When life presents happy or crappy, it's all good, all God. Yeah, that's a vision to live by.
Yeah.
To not and the way that if I may, the way that I try to articulate that is to say that I am not the result of the experiences or the circumstances of my life. Those are byproducts of what's happening in my mind. So if I'm having a happy day or a crappy day, I don't try to manipulate the circumstances. What I'm interested in doing is addressing what's happening within my own mind and heart and my own gut, right? Because those are three aspects of what I will call the brain. The brain for me is not just up here. This is part of the brain, and then this is part of the brain as well. There's a whole talk in that.
Yeah. Every organ has a mind.
Yeah. But being willing to listen beyond the analytic brain to the feeling brain and to the gut brain, right? Because they're very informative.
Yeah. And like in the 4 agreements, right? The don't make assumptions. When we jump to a conclusion, we're jumping usually to a place of fear. We're jumping to that old paradigm that we don't want anymore. We're jumping into that place of fear. And if it's fear, it's not love.
Yeah.
So, I always remind people, we don't owe anyone an instantaneous anything, but we do owe ourselves the opportunity to take a breath before responding. Before responding, take a deep, clearing breath. Let it be audible so that your body is like getting clear of whatever, that is, giving yourself. Look at all the time I just had there to clear my mind and think about something more loving, in a more loving way to respond to what's happening, instead of just getting it and then barking it back out, right? Because we do that. If we're getting something and it sparks fear, we jump to a conclusion. We're the ones writing that whole story. So simmer down. We don't know what's in someone else's mind. We don't know the energy behind that question. We don't know anything. But if we take a breath and then say, isn't that interesting? Tell me more. Then I will have more to discern and to take in so that I can address the situation with more loving presence.
As I sit here contemplating that, I think one of the things that for me feels like it wants to be expressed is a reminder that silence is okay. We are culturalized into like a compulsion to fill silence with noise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really important to remember that we can have opportunities for just allowing the silence. What happens in the silence?
Yeah. It's one of the touchstones. One Love Awakening, and every class, everything we teach, we go through the touchstones, and that's one of them. We sit and learn in the silence, from the silence,
Mm-hmm.
and that's huge. Silence. Oh my God, silence is precious.
Yeah. Can I just try something? And coming from, like I do have a history as well. My life prior to ministry was rooted in the entertainment industry, in acting, in producing. I did some television producing. And one of the things that was like, you never have a silent moment on television. You never have a silent moment.
Mm.
And 10 seconds of silence in a television program is like, people have all turned the channel now.
Wow.
It's an interesting, and they productions operate under that idea. So I just want us to take a breath. Just take a breath. I want everyone present, watching, experiencing, whether you're watching live or on the replay, just take a breath right here and right now. And let's engage in a full minute of silence beginning now. And so it is.
So it is. Oh, did you see what Michelle just put here? Love that.
Yeah, I love that too. Yeah. So I think what comes up for me is to ask this question to everyone who's out there, and put your answer into the chat. What comes up for you? What came up for you in that experience of just taking literally 60 seconds? What came up for you? And was it beneficial? For me, I need to remember myself sometimes to just allow. Yeah. I think that's the thing. That minute said more to me than anything else spoken this morning. I love what we do, Steph. I do.
Yeah, me too.
I love that we, work in the direction of being voices for wisdom. And there's nothing different about us. There just isn't. If there's a way to express and be the example of this philosophy in the world, it is to remind everyone that you have access to the infinite knowledge of the universe. You have access to the infinite wisdom of the universe. Yeah. Many of us are just not willing to listen to it. And so what spiritual practice is for me is an opportunity to allow myself to open up to the infinite wisdom of the universe, to let go of what I think I know, allowing a different possibility. And many times that is the result of experiencing the silence.
Yeah. Yuppers. I was like, we could just pop on, live stream, and just sit in silence for 15 minutes and then move on. Like, it would be, I bet, helpful. Because sometimes it's hard for people to sit in silence without a support.
Right. Well, you also make me think of this. One of the spiritual practices that we teach is meditation. And I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, "Oh, I just can't meditate." I'm like, what are you trying? What do you? So I first ask, how are you defining meditation? What are you trying to allow in meditation? And, they're like, well, I can't sit in silence for 20 minutes. I'm like,
Don't.
that is a form of meditation, but it's not the only form of meditation. What if you just took a breath and allowed yourself to have a full present moment awareness of that breath? And it was maybe 7 seconds. That is a seed for meditation. And I think sometimes we think we've got to sit in the pretzeled up in the lotus position for an hour, and that's what everybody calls meditation. I'm like, that is not necessarily what meditation is. Meditation is an allowing.
Yeah.
And it's a present moment experience. I mean, yeah, do thoughts come to mind of the past when I'm in meditation? Or do considerations for what is to unfold in the future come to me in meditation? Absolutely. But I also activate the practice of, I am here. Right here in this moment. This is it. This is the only moment that exists.
Yeah. Well, and the Tao Te Ching, the Tao says, thoughts come and I let them come. Thoughts go and I let them go.
Yeah.
Right. That's just it. I let them.
Yeah.
My thoughts do not control me.
No. Sherry, sometimes I find being silent or less talkative as I seem, as I am, is seen as standoffish. So I tend to want to fill the gap with that's a cultural thing. We are culturalized into that. So just be aware.
And who cares?
For the culture, who cares?
Who cares if other people think you're standoffish? You're being in the silence and less talkative. That's it.
Some days I'll have to be an observer. I love that. Be an observer. But I have what many people have commonly referred to. You ready? Because now I'm like, if I just relax the muscles in my face, there are many people who would refer to what I have as resting bitch face.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not that I have ill thoughts or, I'm feeling contrary, but when my face is just relaxed, some people find that scary. They look at me like, oh my God, I don't want to be anywhere near that guy. Like, I can't control their reaction to that. And if I'm truly in the silence, if I'm in the moment, sometimes that's just what my face looks like. Yeah.
Stop judging me on how I look.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same is true for resting joy face, because I have kind of resting joy face. So if I'm listening to someone who's telling me something sad, they want my face to look sad, right? They want but I'm listening deeply with my naturally resting face that happens to look like a slight smile.
Yeah.
And so it's the same, it's that we're not giving people what they want. And I have no control over that.
Right. I can't, if I'm being true to myself in the moment, then I cannot control how you receive that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my resting joy face, I hear so often, are you being sincere in like what you're saying right now? Are you genuine? Like those kinds of questions come up And I'm like, this is my face.
Yeah. Yes. So
Yeah.
again, it goes back to, one of the things that we said earlier. What people think of you is none of your business.
None of my business. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't do anything about this face. God gave it to me
that's
with
right.
help of 2 sets of genetic engineering, right? Like
Mhm.
this is, I'm 50% of 2 different strands of DNA. And here I am. I got my mom's rosy cheeks
Yeah.
and thankfully not my dad's nose.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to come to that stillness more. Yeah. That,
Mhm.
it's a practice. It is a
Yeah.
practice. And practice I'm deeply grateful for.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's a remembering
Mhm.
too that like, oh, I practiced today being silent
Mhm.
and not busy, right? Like I'm silent a lot throughout my day. I'm home alone and I do find myself talking to the animals way more now and plants and trees and rocks because I sit in silence a lot. But am I silent to be in the silence
Mhm.
or am I silent and in the busy work of the mind that is unfolding whatever, right? So that's the practice, like intentionally bringing yourself to silence, intentionally bringing yourself to a breath, intentionally bringing yourself
Right? I can
to
sit
that.
in silence.
Yeah. Oh, look, kittens playing with butterflies.
Actually, I have to share with you. Sorry, now that you've said that. I I actually paid for this app.
Oh my gosh.
So it only ended up being $9 a year. I paid for an app called Weather Puppy. So my weather app on my phone now
Yeah.
shows me puppies and dogs.
Oh my, I need that.
Yeah, right. Look, it's 93
Only
degrees in Tucson right
$9.
now.
That's practically a cup of coffee.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Okay, so boundaries, vision. You had a third one.
Expectations.
Expectations. Ugh, hate expectations.
Oh,
Ugh.
that was quite a response. Tell me about that.
Expectations. Here. I struggle with other people's unvoiced expectations, but it's clearly an expectation of them because they come expecting a response, an answer, or whatever. They come with an expectation, but they haven't voiced the other thing that would lead me to deliver that expectation. They haven't voiced it, so that drives me nuts. If you
Mhm.
have an expectation, no, like, I mean, there's psychics, but no one is a mind reader to what it is that you want. So voice what you are actually, be clear in your expectations and that kind of thing. Um, but I just put up on my wall, I shared this in my talk as well. It's a Celtic prayer of approach that I have. And there's 2 lines in it. I bring an undefended heart to our meeting place. So other people's expectations won't hurt me. But I have no cherished outcomes is the line that is so powerful to me. I have
Mhm.
no cherished outcomes, which means so I don't have expectations of others. And we do. We do. Like the moment there's a job description, like there's expectations there.
Yeah.
But the expectations between the lines of what's written, that those we really need to voice those things. We really need to bring those to the surface, or we are yes, I know if I expect people in my household to do the level of things at the level in which I want them done, that's not creating a loving environment because I have high expectations on certain ways of being. So I don't put those expectations on them. I'm now just going to take care of those things that I have expectations on.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Let go. What would happen if we let go of the notion that expectations are hierarchical? Because your high expectations may be contrary to somebody else's high expectations, but they're both high expectations.
Oh yeah, the high is relative.
Right.
No.
Yeah. And what if the only expectations that we lived with were the expectations to experience kindness and joy and respect.
Mm-hmm.
But what that also means is that if that's what I expect out of someone else, then I must assume that that is what they expect out of me. And so I need to act in ways that are in alignment with kindness and joy and respect.
Well, it's that age-old biblical adage, right? Do unto others as you would have done unto you.
Not just in the Bible.
Yeah.
But I want to be really clear. That implies there's an implication in that I think people don't often think about, because essentially it's the golden rule, right? What if you don't have a level of self-respect for yourself? Like, what if you don't have respect for yourself?
Yeah.
Then you may be allowing others to do unto you.
Well, and that plugs right back in to boundaries.
Right. Because if I don't love myself, then my expectation is others may treat me with disrespect, because do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Like, I will expect on some level a treatment that is disrespectful if I don't have respect for myself.
Yeah, I call that my 20s.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get much argument from me on that.
Right? Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So very true. Yeah.
Yeah. The only expectations I try to have are those that I set for myself, and be gentle on myself if I do not meet them. Gentle is the key.
Gentle.
I do like to set them for myself, so I have something to aim for. Yeah, I'm not saying we should be completely devoid of expectations. Just remember that all expectations are self-expectations, and to not step into judgment or assumption if someone else does not align with your expectations.
Yeah,
that's something to think about.
Yeah.
Or my high expectation may be the bottom of your expectation, if we're looking at it in a hierarchical fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like just a level of skill, it could be, right? Like you get a job description and very little training, and then you go and you start this job. But and then 6 months in, you're at your performance review, and there is expectations that they have of your skill level now. And you're like, no one taught me that. No one showed me how to do that. You mean everything I've just created was supposed to have a tick mark on it? Oh my gosh, like 6 months without, so might have a bad performance because someone else didn't voice expectations on what it is they really want from me. That's my challenge. But I love how, like what you just said, all expectations are self-expectations, especially when we're the ones telling the story around it, around what that expectation is.
Yeah.
Because I've also seen like really professional, high level executive people. I see the strategic plan has this big thing in it, and I've seen this, like what the expectation seemed to be was this giant thing over here, but we can actually mark yes on this strategic plan as done because we did this one little thing over here. And so that's the baseline of expectation is to each their own. Yeah.
Oh,
and I those opportunities I had to see that happen, like a highly professional executive people, like seeing them choose that easy path gave me such permission for myself, because I had incredibly high expectations or standards for myself. And I would never have marked that off without this big completed celebratory thing. But it's done. It's done.
Michelle, I feel like expectation on others leads to suffering. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that.
You won't get an argument from me on that.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that the primary source of my suffering is I had expectations of others in
Yeah.
relationship, like love, like intimate, loving relationships with partners.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually one of the things that I am really clear on in my marriage. I actively work to not layer my expectations on my partner in unfair ways. And so how do I work with that? So here's a tool that I use, is that if I feel like I need to communicate something that is maybe going to be met with some resistance or challenge, usually what I say is that I'm taking full responsibility for my feeling around this. And I am not expecting you to own my feelings as I communicate this.
Mm-hmm.
And now let's open up the conversation about what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. And what if my love language is different than someone else's? Well,
it's guaranteed that it is.
Might not work for someone else at all.
Yeah.
That's true. And that's entirely your, you are responsible for that. That is your responsibility.
Yeah.
And, but have respect also then for what others' love language is, and know that your love language, if they're out of alignment with someone else's love language, that they cannot supply you. This goes to this whole thing of, do not try to derive your good from the circumstances or experiences that are external in your life.
Yeah.
Let those things be reflections of that which is within. That is our responsibility, I believe. And so, you are responsible for your love language, no one else.
Mm-hmm.
That's a challenge for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, there's three different love languages in this house alone. You will meet people with different love languages. And yeah, in relationship, if you're in relationship with someone who doesn't have the same love language, make sure you know what their love language is so that you're loving them the way they want to be loved. And that opens up a freedom of conversation to say, this is how I want to be loved. This this is my love language. And if my love language isn't resonating with other people, that's okay.
Yeah.
But we get to voice our stuff with love, right? Consciously choosing how we show up as our love. And make sure we know what our love language is. Some people are like, I don't know what my love language is.
Yeah. Anita continues, that's what I consider a flaw in the golden rule. And I agree. Because I think that's a different direction of looking at the thing I was talking about before, in terms of what I think is a flaw in the golden rule, is that if we don't fundamentally love ourselves or have respect for ourselves, then we cannot expect others to love and respect us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah. And in a teaching of oneness, we are in a philosophy of oneness. So as I learn to love myself, I am learning how to love you.
Yeah.
Because there is no separation. We are not separate. When I learn how to love myself, when I learn how to be compassionate with myself, I am doing better work for you.
Yeah. So, well, this has been a lovely conversation, and we're like, it's
has that been an hour? Oh my gosh!
It's gone by so quickly today.
Yes,
I'm always delighted to share this time with you, Saint Steph.
I am as well. I love it, and I miss it. I do. Oh my gosh!
I know it was weird being away last week. I mean, I was really busy and engaged last week in the convention, but it was like, I came back. I'm like, wow, it's been 2 whole weeks since I saw Steph. Like,
yeah. We got to get her fixed.
We'll be back next week though for another rant.
Yeah.
I do want to let you know, if you're in the Tucson area, we're doing a screening tonight here, Spiritual Cinema. We're going to be doing a screening of What the Bleep Do We Know? That movie.
Oh, fun. Oh my gosh, that's an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, it's like 20 years old now, and I think it's worth a revisit. So we're going to watch that movie tonight and have a little discussion. That starts at 6:30 p.m. here at Unity of Tucson. Come check it out if you're in the area. We'd love to see you. Yeah.
That's
Anything
awesome.
happening in your neck of the woods?
Oh, tonight. It's the 4th Wednesday of the month. Oh, I said it right this time. You should have heard the tongue twister I created for myself on Wake Up Say Thank You. But tonight is Deep Soul Meditation. So if you're not in the Tucson area, you can visit us online and in Zoom. We're going to do a de-stress with Steph. You know, we just have a guided meditation and we do spiritual mind treatment for all the requests in the room. And the first request is very often world peace. So come, enjoy. It's deeply delicious. There is a group of us warmly waiting for your presence as well.
Beautiful.
And you can get that information right on oneloveawakening.com. The Zoom link is right there on the website.
Love that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, that's it. We'll see you next week. Peace and
See you
blessings.
next week, everybody.
Love you.
Peace and blessings.